Well, hello. We're getting people to join in. Oh, there's Kenzie. Hello, Kenzie. Oh, Alexa is there. Martha and Coronado, you joined us. Hello, good evening. Oh my goodness, people are tuning in.
Hello.
How is everybody today? Oh, there's Vivian and Lacey. Oh, and there's Alexa's grandmother. She joined us. Oh, I love everybody joining in. Hello. Oh, and Sugarplum Fairy. That's your mother that just joined in. Oh, and Kathy from Nebraska. Hello, and McKaylee is there. Our China Queen joined us. Oh my goodness, is that Nina Tross? I think she's in Cabo. We have people in Cabo, Mexico tuning in tonight. How fabulous is that? Oh my goodness, Cecilia is there. Brianna is there tonight. Oh boy, we have a great turnout for our cozy bedtime story time tonight. Well, welcome everybody. I am Miss Kimberly. Oh, there is Kiki and Jackie. Oh my goodness, our Queen of Sweets mother, the Queen Mom herself, she joined us. Everybody's joining in for the Nutcracker. I'm so glad. Oh, there's our Queen of Sweets, Kiki. I am here with our Sugarplum Fairy, Miss Abby, in the 2021 Ahwatukee Foothills Nutcracker Ballet. So welcome our beautiful Sugarplum Fairy. Now, you just came from rehearsal, is that correct? You've been in rehearsal dancing for how many hours today?
For like 4 hours.
4 hours straight. How are your piggy toes? Are they okay?
They're hurting.
They're hurting. Okay, well we're lucky because we have our cozy purple Sugarplum Fairy blankie and our Sugarplum Fairy pillow. And this is our Nutcracker. And for those of you, here's a little bit of history. This will be our 22nd year doing the Nutcracker Ballet in the Ahwatukee Foothills community. And we have used this Nutcracker for all 22 performances. So a lot of history, the very same one. Hi, Emma, you're there. I'm so excited you joined us. Oh my goodness. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Nutcracker because a lot of people don't know the history of the Nutcracker. So let's get started on that. Do you want to tell them what year the very first Nutcracker was performed?
Wasn't it 1822?
No, 1892. 129 years ago. 129 years ago.
That's
in
crazy.
St. Petersburg, Russia. And guess what? Miss Kimberly got to go to St. Petersburg, Russia, and I got to see Swan Lake. Can you believe that? In Russia. And it was so beautiful. I cried the entire time because I had never seen anything like that. It was just so unbelievable. But the story of the Nutcracker was written 129 years ago by Tchaikovsky. He was a very, very famous composer. And when he was writing the Nutcracker, his sister, Sasha, he had a sister, Sasha, who suddenly passed away and was very, very close to his sister. And so when he was writing the Nutcracker, it was, at first, it wasn't as happy and magical as it is now. It was a little bit sadder. And he took the role of Clara and he wrote that role for his sister, Sasha, and remembered her as a young girl at Christmas time. And he remembered the very last Christmas that he had with his sister Sasha. So the role of Clara, who goes, he also then wrote his sister Sasha as an older girl, and the role of the Sugarplum Fairy. And that's how the Sugarplum Fairy came to be. So it has a little bit of history. And Tchaikovsky, he actually thought of himself as Drosselmeyer, who in the story of the Nutcracker is the magical toy maker. So he had himself written into the ballet, the music score of the Nutcracker Ballet. But what was very interesting, the very first Sugarplum Fairy did not come from Russia. She was Italian. She came from Italy, which in 1892, oh, they did not like that. They wanted a Russian ballerina. But she was Italian. So all the critics, the writers, gave her a very bad review. They said that she was ungraceful. She was not poised. She could not dance the role as a Russian dancer. But guess what happened on opening night?
What?
She had 5 curtain calls. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 5 curtain calls. Brought the house down. People were going crazy clapping for her. So it just goes to show you, dancers, don't ever listen to those critics. Just know that you're doing the best job you possibly can do. Have confidence in yourself, because that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. You just keep being you and do the best you can, because she proved herself. She brought the house down. And then another little fun fact, when it performed in 1892, because she had the 5 curtain calls, people wanted to see her more on stage. So she did something 129 years ago that just was unheard of. She actually added more dancing to the actual play of the Nutcracker. So she took that upon herself. I mean, she was a strong boss girl back then, and she just did her own thing and knew what was right. And I love that. I love stories like that about those strong boss girls. So that's a pretty interesting story about the Nutcracker. So let's talk a little bit about you and how you've been training for this role, and tell us what you're most excited about being the Sugarplum Fairy. The 2021, it's going to be the first time in 2 years that we get to have a live audience watching. What is that going to be like for you?
Well, it's gonna be crazy because, you know, with COVID and everything, all performances got shut down. Luckily, we were Miss Kim was able to put on a performance last year.
How we don't know. We pulled it off.
Yeah.
Thank you. We did. We did a live stream, but we got it pulled off.
But this year, it's gonna be even more magical with a live performance, and that's one thing that I'm really excited about, because all my friends and family are able to actually see it in person and not online. And I'm just excited to just do the role of Sugarplum, because, you know, ever since you're a little girl, you always look up to the older kids and you're always like, I really want to be Sugarplum, and here I am being Sugarplum Fairy.
I love that. Oh my goodness, it's so good. After our story time, we're going to have you ask any questions you want to our beautiful Sugarplum Fairy, Miss Abby. So without further ado, get ready for your cozy bedtime story time of the Nutcracker Ballet. I have my Queen of Magic jammies. Our Sugarplum Fairy has her Nutcracker jammies. She has her Sugarplum Fairy pillow and our Nutcracker, so we're all cozy. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to flip it around, and we are going, oh, that was our questions there. Let's flip it. Where do we, I'm throwing in my glasses. Oh, there we go. Need the help of the Sugarplum Fairy. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to read The Nutcracker. And just a little story here. In 2012, my little girl danced the role of the Clara. And as you can see, I bought her this book, and it said, to my dear daughter Avery, the world is your stage, dance all over it. I love you, mommy, enjoy the magic. And this is Miss Kimberly saying, I always say to all my students, the world is your stage, dance all over it. So, The Nutcracker. Look how beautiful this is. Oh, Christmas Eve was finally here at the grand home of the Stollenbaums. Family and friends had gathered at night to dance and celebrate. Everyone was happy, especially the 2 children, Clara and her brother Fritz. Look at how dressed up everybody is in their beautiful Christmas dresses. And there is Clara and her brother Fritz. And look at that beautiful Christmas tree. Oh, guess who this is? This is Herr Drosselmeyer. That is the godfather, he is the godfather, I should say, to Clara and Fritz. Now, Herr Drosselmeyer is a toy maker, but he's not a regular toy maker. He makes magical toys. The children became even more excited when they spotted their godfather, Herr Drosselmeyer. He was a brilliant toy maker, and every Christmas he gave them the most wonderful magical gifts. This year he gave Fritz a troop of marching toy soldiers, and he gave Clara a wooden Nutcracker doll. Oh, look at that. And look at the toy soldiers that he gave to Fritz. Now, Drosselmeyer, he's not a regular toy maker. He's a magical toy maker. Clara loved the funny-looking Nutcracker, but Fritz grabbed the doll, saying, "Oh, silly old thing." He dropped it on the floor and breaking its jaw. "Oh," cried Clara, "he is not silly." She picked him up and she wrapped a ribbon around his head and she cradled him. "Oh, don't you worry, Nutcracker. Please don't worry. I'll take good care of you." Oh, look at Clara. She's so sad that her naughty brother Fritz hurt her beautiful Nutcracker that her godfather gave to her. Oh, suddenly hundreds of mice came out of the clock. As they raced across the room, Clara's Nutcracker doll, Fritz, the toy soldiers, and all the other toys, they came to life. "Charge!" shouted the Nutcracker, and the toys and the mice began to fight. Swords were clanking and cannons were being fired. The Nutcracker faced that mean old Mouse King with his mighty sword. Look at the toy soldiers taking on that Mouse King and his army of mice. And look at the cannon. It's shooting out candy at that mean old Mouse King. Oh, no. What's going to happen? The toy army was small, and there were so many mice. Clara saw the mice raise his sword at the Nutcracker. "No, no," she shouted. She took off her slipper, and she threw it at the Nutcracker with all of her might. He fell to the floor, and suddenly all was quiet. And like magic, every naughty mouse disappeared. Oh my goodness. Clara, she took on that Mouse King with the Nutcracker. All of a sudden, the Nutcracker turned into a prince. Look at that. He changed into a very handsome prince. He took Clara's hand and he said, "You saved my life. Let me show you my kingdom. My kingdom is in the land of sweets." Suddenly, the house disappeared and they were flying through the snowy sky. They were met by all the beautiful snowflakes, and the Snow Queen lit the sky as the snow fell to get the prince and Clara safely to the land of sweets. Oh, look at that. The Snow Queen and all of her snowflakes met them on the way. Oh, wow, look at that. They're in the land of sweets. Clara and the prince, they flew to the land of sweets. He told everybody about the battle and how Clara had saved his life. A great celebration began with music and dancers from across the land. First, the Russian dancers stomped their boots and clapped their hands and jumped high in the air. Oh, look at the Russian dancers. Oh my goodness. Oh, the Arabian. Clara and the prince watched the wonderful Arabian dancer gracefully slay to the music, ringing tiny chimes on her finger. Next, a group of Chinese dancers leapt from a giant teapot, twirling fans and umbrellas. Clara had never been so thrilled. She felt like it was a dream. All these beautiful dancers in the land of sweets. Oh, look at this. Then, as the music began louder, Spanish dancers dressed in brown rushed onto the stage. "This was the dance of the chocolate," explained the prince. Next, a towering woman wearing a huge skirt appeared. "Watch this," whispered the prince. "She is Mother Ginger, and she's from France." And all of her little bonbons came out from her skirts. And he added, laughing, "Look at all those little bonbons." Look at everybody watching. And there's Clara and the prince. Oh, Sugarplum Fairy. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, and then they were greeted by the beautiful butterfly queen and all the waltz of the flowers. They twirled around the kingdom and the flowers as they parted their way so the beautiful Sugarplum Fairy could come out and dance her pas de deux. As a crowd cheered, Clara sighed. "Oh, I wish I could stay here forever and ever," she said. Look at that Sugarplum Fairy. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. But the dance had to end, and it was time for Clara to return home. As they climbed aboard the magical sleigh, he turned to her and said, "I will never forget your kindness, Clara." The sleigh rose into the dawn sky. Clara looked back to see the crowd waving goodbye at the land of sweets, fading into the misty light. Everybody in the land of sweets waved goodbye to Clara as she went home. Goodbye, goodbye. Oh. Clara awoke in her own home, holding her Nutcracker doll in her arms. Everything looked just like it did before, but Clara knew it wasn't. She knew that her Nutcracker prince was real and that they'd meet again someday in the land of sweets. "I'll always take care of you," she whispered to him, and she always did. Oh, the end. Oh, Sugarplum Fairy. That was so beautiful. Now that was a little bit of a shortened version of the Nutcracker. Oh, but what a beautiful story of just beautiful magic and happiness. And that's what happens at Christmas time, right? We all get dressed up in our beautiful Christmas clothes and we go to beautiful Christmas parties and we're presented with wonderful gifts. And in the Nutcracker, again, how Drosselmeyer comes to the home of the Stallenbaums, and Clara and Fritz, he is the godfather, and he's a toy maker that makes magic toys. And after the party, Clara falls asleep under her Christmas tree, holding her Nutcracker. And just like the story told you, she is greeted by that mean old Mouse King. And the Nutcracker takes on that Mouse King, and they duel it out, and he defeats the Mouse King. And that's when the Nutcracker turns into a real live prince. He takes Clara on her sleigh. They go off into the night where it's falling snow. They're met by the Snow Queen and all the snowflakes, and they go off in the land of sweets, which is actually the prince. It's his kingdom. And guess who was watching the land of sweets while the prince was away? The Sugarplum Fairy. So they're greeted by the Sugarplum Fairy, who welcomes Clara to the land of sweets, along with welcoming the prince back to his kingdom. And now let's talk a little bit about all the queens and what they represent in the Nutcracker. So let's talk, what does the Spanish queen represent? Does anybody know out there? Can somebody answer? What does the Spanish queen represent? Anybody know? Want to answer? Okay, Sugarplum Fairy, do you want to tell them the answer?
The answer is chocolate.
So the Spanish queen represents chocolate. Oh, and I love chocolate.
Me too.
So good. Oh, everything in the Nutcracker is just yummy and just delicious. Okay, so then the Arabian queen. Anybody know what the Arabian queen represents in the land of sweets? What does the Arabian queen? Okay, think about it. Anybody know? Good question. Okay. Sugarplum Fairy, what does the Arabian queen represent?
Coffee.
Coffee. Oh, and I love my coffee in the morning. Oh, and I play my Nutcracker music in the morning, and I love my cup of coffee. And then, what does the China queen represent? Anybody know? Lauren, is that you? Did you answer? Okay, Arabian is coffee, and China is tea. Oh, I love tea too. Tea is so good. Oh, and then our marzipan queen. Oh, very good. Is that Maddie who answered that? You got that right, Maddie. Okay, not sushi. No, doesn't represent sushi, but that was a good try. But Clara answered that question correctly. It is tea. And then our marzipan queen, she plays the flute. She has a beautiful flute. And of course, our angel queen, she represents all the beautiful angels on the cloud. And then our butterfly queen represents all the flowers in the waltz of the flowers. And the Russian dancer represents candy canes, believe it or not. It's actual candy canes. And then our queen of sweets, can you guys hear Chester barking upstairs? He's answering right now. Chester's answering. So Chester, what does Russian represent? Do you want to tell us, Chester? Let's see if Chester knows. Oh, now he's quiet. He thinks he's smart and he doesn't know. But actually, the Russian dancer represented candy canes. Candy canes. And then Mother Ginger represented all the other candies, gingerbreads and all sorts of macaroons, all sorts of wonderful candies. And she came from France. So just so many wonderful, delicious things in the land of sweets that we all love. So now let's talk to our beautiful Sugar Plum Fairy, Miss Abby. So Miss Kimberly's been doing a lot of talking. Now it's her turn to talk. So does anybody have any questions? Miss Kimberly's going to put on her glasses so I can read your questions that you would like to ask our beautiful Sugar Plum Fairy, Miss Abby. Are there any questions? Because we're going to take some questions right now. Hello. Oh, that's Debbie in Nebraska. Hello, Debbie. Oh. And Debbie flew from Nebraska last year to see our Nutcracker here in Phoenix.
Cool.
She came out and watched the Nutcracker here. She's one of my dear friends. Very sweet. Okay, here's a question. Okay, how is it, what is it like to be the Sugar Plum Fairy?
It's really cool because, you know, whenever you're like little, you're always looking up to the older dancers, and now I'm the Sugar Plum Fairy, so I'm like the older dancer that like all the little ones are looking up to. So it's just really cool to like be in the shoes that I always looked up to.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, Kathy in Nebraska says, how old and how long have you been dancing? How old are you and how long have you been dancing?
I'm 18 years old and I've been dancing since I was 3, so for a long time, but I started focusing on just ballet when I was about 11.
About 11. And what role did you dance last year in the Nutcracker?
Snow Queen.
Snow Queen. And what did you love about that role?
I loved everything about it, and just being able to be one of those like queen roles, because it was my first time ever being like a principal role. So. And
then somebody asked, why are you the Sugar Plum Fairy? And I'll answer that, because she's amazing. She's incredible. Come to the show on December 18th and 19th, and you'll see for yourself. That's why she's the Sugar Plum Fairy. She has worked very, very hard for this role. And just so you know, this is one of the few Nutcrackers that are done entirely by dancers ages 3 to 18. We don't fly in any professional dancers from New York City or LA like a lot of Nutcrackers do. We use all of our dancers around our valley, young dancers. And Abby, you're the oldest one in our Nutcracker, being 18 years of age. Everybody's younger than you. Let's see. What is your favorite part about being the Sugar Plum Fairy? They want to know what is the favorite moment of being the Sugar Plum Fairy? When you're about to take that stage, what is going to be your favorite part, do you think?
I feel like dancing with Clara. This year I've gotten so close with Charlie Ann, which is Clara this year, and I'm really excited to be dancing with her.
Well, and that is very true, because the Sugar Plum Fairy and Clara, they formed such a bond, which is very interesting to me, because when you read the history of Tchaikovsky, who was the composer of the Nutcracker, again, I'm telling the story again, he wrote that when his sister, who he was very dear to, her name was Sasha, she suddenly died at a very young age, and he was heartbroken. So he wrote the role of Clara, and the Sugar Plum Fairy, Clara being his younger sister, and Sugar Plum Fairy, who would have been his sister had she lived to be a young woman. So the closeness of Clara and Sugar Plum are very important in the story of the Nutcracker, which a lot of people don't realize how he ended up writing the role of the Sugar Plum Fairy. So there is a very close bond between the Sugar Plum Fairy and Clara. And you are very connected because you have a lot of rehearsal times and you dance together, which is very interesting. Oh, you have some ballerinas that say that they get to be on stage with you, Sugar Plum. That's pretty exciting. So cool. I love that. And just so you know, a lot of our dancers that start dancing at age 3, they start out as baby Hershey Kiss mice. And that was my daughter, Avery. She started out as a little Hershey Kiss mouse, and then she just worked every year. Then she became a little March girl in the party scene, a baby March girl, then a March girl, then Clara's best friend. Then she became Clara, and she worked really hard, and then she had her first queen role as a Spanish queen, and then the butterfly queen and the snow queen, and then she ended up dancing the role of the Sugarplum Fairy 2 times. So 2 times she got to dance as Sugarplum Fairy. Other questions that you have out there for our Sugarplum Fairy? Any other questions? Oh, look at somebody gets to be on stage with you again. I love that you get to be on stage with the Sugarplum Fairy. That is so special. I love that. Other questions? Let's see. Alexa wants to know if you like being on stage. Oh, that's a good question. Do you like being on stage, and do you ever get nervous? That's a really good question.
Yes, I love being on stage. Personally, I feel like I do better on stage than in rehearsal. And yes, I do get nervous before stage, but I usually just shake it out, and then I just try to like calm myself and just perform. Because once I just perform, and then I do good.
Okay, and you kind of get those little butterflies in your tummy a little bit, and then but once that curtain opens, what is that like when you're backstage and that curtain is closed, and then you see the lights go down and the music come up and that curtain opens? What is that like?
It's just very magical, and it's just like you're about to, usually, people are coming to see you and you're about to perform for them, and you have the opportunity to, so it's just so cool to be their audience, or their person they're watching.
That's true. Okay, somebody just asked, what is your favorite queen out of all the queens? Now, we have 10 queens in our Nutcracker. We have more queens than most Nutcrackers because we've added a few queen roles. So what is your favorite queen, do you think?
I would probably say Arabian or Sugarplum.
Now, why Arabian? Tell us the reason why you like Arabian.
I've always liked Arabian when I was like really little. Like, I just love how it's like sassy, and it's like you can put your own character in it, and it's like kind of acro-y but like sassy, if that makes sense. And then I love Sugarplum because
eloquent and just magical. I mean, when that Sugarplum takes the stage and you see that little angel bow to the Sugarplum Fairy in the Land of Sweets, that just takes my breath away. Especially when you're back there and all the clouds are on the stage, and that just gets me every time. I just absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Other questions you have for our Sugarplum? Other questions? Well, Sugarplum, why don't you tell us 3 things about yourself that nobody would know?
That no one would know.
3 things that you want us to know that nobody would know.
I would say one of them would be that I'm really flexible.
Okay.
And like I've just been naturally flexible. Like I've had to like work on it throughout the years, but I'm pretty just naturally flexible.
Something else? Is there certain food you like? Something favorite movie?
My favorite food is chicken and ice cream.
Wait, chicken and ice cream together?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we might have to try that. The Sugarplum Fairy likes chicken and ice cream together, and Miss Kimberly loves a good fried chicken. I love it. Okay, so those are 2 foods, and what's the 3rd thing that you want that nobody would know about you?
About like anything?
Yeah, anything. It could be anything. Something that nobody knows about you that you're gonna let us know about you.
Well, I feel like this is actually pretty cool. So I have epilepsy, and I have a cyst on my brain.
Oh.
And so like for a couple of years that has like caused my dancing like for like a little bit, but
you keep going and you don't give up and you think positive. Is that correct? Yes. I love this. This is amazing. I love this. Oh my goodness. I did not know that. Okay. But you just keep practicing, keep going, and you don't let anything hold you back. Oh my goodness. I know. I love fried chicken too. I'm going to have to try it now with ice cream. I love that. Okay, other things that we should know about you. What other, let's give me one more fun fact that we don't know about our Sugarplum Fairy. I love fun facts.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. See, when you get on the spot, it's a lot harder.
Do you snore? Do you snore at night?
No.
No, you don't snore. No. When you take your point shoes off, do you have stinky toes?
Yeah.
Okay, stinky toes. The Sugarplum Fairy has stinky toes. That's a good fun fact that we didn't know about you. Okay. What was your favorite children's book, since we love to read books?
My favorite?
That you read when you were a child. What was a book you liked?
Fancy Nancy.
Okay, I loved Fancy Nancy. Well, see, that's why she's a Sugarplum Fairy, because she's so fancy. Okay, here's another question for Brianna. Are you going to keep dancing when you get older? Good question, Brianna. Tell us, are you going to keep dancing when you're older? Is this your dream? Is this your passion? What are you going to do with your life, Sugarplum?
That's my goal, is to keep dancing. I want to be a professional dancer in a professional ballet company. And since it's my senior year, like, it is kind of like my most important year, because I'm able to go audition for different companies, and hopefully I get a contract somewhere.
Okay, so tell us what ballet company, because I do believe anything is possible, that whatever you want to do, you can make it happen. I truly believe that. If you want to dance with American Ballet Theater, that's where you're going to go. If you want to dance with San Francisco Ballet, that's where you're going to go. If you want to be a fashion designer, that's what you're going to do. So tell me, what is your dream ballet company that you could be part of?
I have two.
Okay, two. Okay, tell us the first one.
Ballet West, and...
Well, tell them where Ballet West is located, because this is very interesting.
It's located in Salt Lake City in Utah.
Okay, I love this. And research Ballet West, because it's a beautiful ballet company. Okay, so that's number one.
And then my second one would be Alabama Ballet.
Alabama. Now that is very interesting. Okay, so tell us why Alabama. How did you come that would be another one of your choices for a ballet company?
Well, I was actually born in Alabama, and
wait a second. There is a fifth fun fact that we did not know about our Sugarplum Fairy. You were born in Alabama. Okay, let's remember these fun facts, okay? Okay.
And so I have family in Alabama, and so actually in January, my plan is to go to Alabama to visit them, but to also audition for their company.
Oh my goodness, I love this. Now you have got to keep in touch with us. Well, we're going to be following you on Instagram, okay? But for those of you that are not following our Sugarplum Fairy and you're on Instagram, Darius joined in. Hi, Darius, honey. Tell us your Instagram so people can, roll with the tide, Dad says. Okay, that's Clara's daddy right there saying that. That plays our Clara. He plays our Clara's dad in the Nutcracker. That's Lauren's daddy, who is one of our best friends this year. So now, I just kind of lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? We're talking about the ballet company and, your Instagram. Yes, let's follow. If you're not already following our beautiful Sugarplum Fairy, tell everybody how they can follow you on Instagram.
So it's at Abigail, Abigail, and then Catherine, Kathryn.03.
Okay, so that's how you follow our beautiful Sugarplum Fairy. Any questions whatsoever that you guys have out there, since you're all tuning in, before you tuck into bed and you dream of Sugarplum Fairies dancing in your head, ask the questions now. Any question you want, ask us now about our Nutcracker. Our Nutcracker is going to be December 18th and 19th at the beautiful Madison Center for the Arts Theater. Beautiful theater, by the way. Oh, it's going to be so fun. And I cannot wait to have a live audience. Oh, to hear that clapping again. I'm so excited too. Miss Kimberly cannot wait. Now, another fun fact. Let's go on little fun fact number 6 of the Sugarplum Fairy. Your mother is a very, very talented seamstress. And she's been doing costumes for our Nutcracker Ballet for many, many years. Now, tell us what it's like having, you're a powerhouse already in your house. Like, you're a prima ballerina, you're the Sugarplum Fairy, and let's top it off with the cherry on top of the cake. Your mother is talented too. And does your mother, not only does she make these beautiful costumes, but she's a teacher. Is she a dance teacher?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. And how many years has she been dancing? And was she your dance teacher?
Okay, so she's been dancing for, hopefully I get this correct, 25 years. And she was actually in Ballet West pre-professional program.
Wait a second. So she was a member of Ballet West.
Yes.
Okay, that's where, okay, now it all is adding up. Okay.
And so she was at Ballet West for, I think it was 1 year. And then, so she's just danced her whole life. And then once I was little, I got put in ballet. And so, what else?
Well, you learned from your mom, and that's pretty
Yes.
special. I love that. I love that story. Okay, so we have another question. How often do you practice? That's a good one.
So I have dance every day, 6 times a week for 4 hours in the evening. And I practice for Nutcracker every Saturday, and sometimes we have extra rehearsals during the week. But for me, I always watch over all of my videos for the Nutcracker every night before I go to bed.
But now, not only you're saying you're practicing in class, but I know you because I follow you very closely. How many hours do you put in by yourself at home? Because I think this is very important for our young ballerinas to know that you don't just go to the dance studio and take class with your teachers, and you don't just do privates, but tell them how many hours you're studying videos, you're studying other ballerinas, and you're rehearsing inside your own home. How many hours a day by yourself?
Probably like over 3 hours.
A day extra on top of the 4 that she's doing. So total between 7 and 8 hours a day. Just like dancers are athletes, okay? You have to remember that. You are an athlete. When you are a dancer, you're one of the top athletes, and you are training all the time. A really good athlete trains many, many hours at the sport that they love, and dance happens to be our Sugarplum Fairy sport, and she trains a lot, a lot. Now, another question that was asked, I think this is interesting. What is your favorite subject in school that you're studying in school right now? Because going to school is very important too, as far as not just your dance training, but getting good grades, because so many dancers, they do really well in school. Their brain works really well. They're very good at mathematics because they have to remember choreography. They have to learn the counting and the rhythm of it all. So what is your favorite subject?
I would say English.
English?
Yes.
Okay, and why English?
I don't know. I love reading like the stories that we have to read, because it's like interesting to like read like all different books from all different in the different years. And then I love like writing essays that we have to do, because sometimes you could just write about anything, and that's when you get creative and you're able to write about anything.
That's another good question. When do you have time to do your homework? Because I think this is really important for dancers, the time management. Like you have to have time management, and that means getting up early, doing your homework. So when do you find your time to do your homework?
So I do online school, that you probably could figure, but I go ahead. So sometimes I try to do school every day. And I do have a job, so I babysit on Tuesdays, and then I work at this homeschool co-op group on Thursdays. So usually those are the days I don't do school, since I'm babysitting all day. So I try to do the other days, I try to do at least 4 hours of school, either before dance or after dance.
So you're always constantly learning, doing your schoolwork, getting it done. And I have a feeling you get good grades, because most dancers get good grades. Okay, what's my favorite Sugarplum queen, or what is the Sugarplum Fairies queen? I'm trying to see this question. Well, if you're asking Miss Kimberly who her favorite Sugarplum, okay, we've been doing, this will be our 22nd year doing the Nutcracker, so that means 21 years of Sugarplums. Our longest running Sugarplum was my oldest daughter, Taylor Morgan. She danced the roles for 3 years. So she had it the longest. And then Olivia Gregg, she was our youngest Sugarplum Fairy. She was 12 when she danced the role as the youngest Sugarplum Fairy in the Ahwatukee Foothills Nutcracker Ballet, and she danced the role twice. And then her sister Bella, she also danced the role. And then my youngest daughter, Avery, she danced the role in 2018, and then her senior year, she danced the role again, and she changed off the roles with her two best friends, Bella Gregg and Allie Nash. They each took a turn dancing the Butterfly Queen, one performance, Snow Queen, and Sugarplum Fairy. So, but every year, I love every Sugarplum for a different reason and different meanings. So I love all of our Sugarplums that's ever performed in our Nutcracker, and I'm very close to every single one of them. Okay, question: who is your favorite ballerina? Your favorite prima ballerina?
I feel like there's like a lot. I would say my top one would be Catherine Morgan.
Okay.
Which I have another fun fact.
Fun fact number 7 from the Sugarplum Fairy. Okay.
My mom actually danced with Catherine Morgan when she was younger.
Okay, very good. Okay, that is a good. Okay, and why do you like Catherine? Tell us your reason.
Well, I love like watching her perform because like how she like presents herself on stage is just like, I don't know, it's very breathtaking, and it just gives me chills every time I watch her. And I love, I actually have gotten like classes taught by her, and she's just the sweetest person, and I just like love her.
Okay, and then we were asked, what was the first year you ever did the Nutcracker? How young were you? And what was your first role when you did the Nutcracker?
I was a little mouse, and I want to say, I think I was like 4. I remember I had to wait like a couple of years because I had to wasn't their age limit yet.
Wait, you weren't 1 and doing the Nutcracker? You had to wait till you were 4?
Yeah, I had to or it was like 3. I was
going to say, that's old, because we started them out at 2 and 3, and now we took you Foothills Nutcracker. So you were past your prime to be a first kiss mouse.
I had to wait a couple of years, and I remember I was really sad because I was just wanting to be in the Nutcracker.
Well, I don't blame you. I want to be in the Nutcracker too. I love the Nutcracker. Oh my goodness. Other questions that you have about our Nutcracker? So you know, we are in rehearsal every Saturday. It's just, I don't know, they're fun. It's a Saturday that we turn off all of our cell phones. We have no electronics. We sit there and we bond with each other. The little ones come up to all the queens. It's pretty special. In between rehearsals, we play board games and we color and maybe do a puzzle or play cards. So a lot of fun memories that we're making, right?
Yes.
A lot of fun memories. So, any other questions? Okay. You were 5. Oh, okay. We just found out another fun fact. You were close. You were 5, and you were a little baby mouse.
Yes,
a lot of people start off as a little baby mouse, and then it's really neat to see starting off as a little baby mouse or a little baby March girl, and you work your way up, and then one day you become the Sugarplum Fairy. Oh my goodness, it's so special. Okay, when did you go to your, when were you first on point? Now this is a question that I get asked a lot from parents because they want to rush and put kids on point at 9, 10. And no. The longer you can wait, going on point is an individual thing because there's a lot of factors. Have you stopped growing? Are your growth plates closed? Are your ankles strong? Your feet? There's so many factors. So if you can hold off, because once you're up on point, trust me, you're gonna get those blisters. And you're gonna kind of wish I might have waited a couple of years. So this is a good question. And you're not a very tall dancer. So how tall are you?
I'm 4'11".
She is 4'11". Now that's a difference when you're 4'11", because your growth plates probably closed really early. Okay, so how old were you when you went up on point? Not at the bar on pre-point, but when you were able to go out in the center of the room, do your pirouette turns on point. How old were you when you were able to do that?
I think I was about 12.
Okay, about 12. Okay. And now that you look back, did you kind of wish you might have waited a year, or what do you think? Were you ready?
I feel like I was ready, because I actually danced at a charter school, and I danced out after school, and so actually my teacher from outside of school, she didn't want me to go on point, but my teachers at school wanted me to, so I just went on point. And so I feel like I probably could have waited maybe like a year to get like fully ready to like dance in the center.
And I think that's really important because I think as a dancer that, you know, the longer you can wait, you know, it just, you're being proactive as far as, you know, the growing time to get there. I see a lot of dancers, sometimes they start at 9 and I'm like, why? You know, your growth place, you're still growing, you know, give it time, don't rush it. Because trust me, Stinky Toes right here can show you some pretty bad blisters on her toes. So you think you want to get up a point and then you're like, maybe I could have waited just a little bit longer. True? Yeah, true.
And it's not just blisters. You can lose toenails too. I've lost 6 toenails.
Oh.
And another fun fact.
Fun fact number 8 with the Sugarplum Fairy.
This might sound gross to some people, but I actually have all my toenails in a Ziploc bag in my room.
That is a really good fun fact. I like that fun fact better than the chicken and ice cream. That's a really good fun fact. Oh my goodness. So, well, this has been so fun reading our Nutcracker. Oh, and let's just really quickly before we wrap this up tonight. Anybody know when the first Nutcracker was performed in the United States of America? Now remember, it was first performed in 1892 in St. Petersburg, Russia. But when did it get to be performed in the United States? Does anybody know that answer? It wasn't until many years later, 1944, in San Francisco. The San Francisco Ballet Company was the first ballet company to ever do the Nutcracker in the United States of America. So that's another fun fact. And it has been bringing joy to people around the world every holiday season. And every year we always look forward to the Nutcracker Ballet. So it's pretty special. So anything else you want to say before we get cozy and close our eyes and dream of Sugarplum fairies dancing in our heads tonight?
You should, if you're not in Ahwatukee Foothills Nutcracker, you should totally come and watch it this December.
I love it. December 8th to the 19th. Come see beautiful Miss Abby as a Sugarplum fairy and the Ahwatukee Foothills Nutcracker Ballet. This has been so fun tonight. And don't forget, we're going to be doing cozy bedtime story time between now all the way up to opening night with each one of our queens. So you get to know each one of our queens one-on-one and our Clara. So tune in, follow us on Instagram, Dance Studio 111 on Instagram, or at AF Nutcracker. You can follow us there on Instagram. And Abby, one more time, tell everybody what your Instagram is so they can follow you on your journey the next few months.
So my Instagram is abigail.catherine.03.
Okay, so let's all follow our beautiful Sugarplum fairy. I want everybody to get cozy, tuck into bed, okay? Oh, Chester Westchester, he's upstairs. He's a little mad at me right now because he likes to do bedtime story time with me. And I told him, no way, I have the Sugarplum fairy here tonight. You're out, buddy, and she's in. So he is mad and pouting upstairs, but he'll get over it. He'll be at rehearsal tomorrow, and all will be right in the world again with Chester Westchester. So all our wonderful ballerinas and all of our dear family and friends out there from all over the country, thank you for tuning in. Good night. We love you. And don't forget, always dream of Sugarplum fairies dancing in your head. Good night.
Good night.
And sweet dreams.